Hello everyone, so welcome to today's video. Thanks for joining me. Today we're talking about my beauty favorites, these standout products that I have just been loving so much. I just love these products and I wanted to share them with you. Obviously, I don't have makeup on except for my brows. I did film a demo for my brow routine, which I will plug into this video when we get to that portion of the video, but I wanted to talk about some of my favorites. I just love everything that I'm going to share with you today. I use them all the time and I just wanted to play around with makeup. I am going to include a fail, which I don't want to end the video on a negative note, but you know, it is what it is. I tried lots of beauty products and not everything wows me. Some things are great and some things are just not as good as I had hoped. So we are going to get started and I'm going to just kind of show you the products that I'm going to use, tell you why I love them, and pull this whole face together. I'm starting off with primer and I'm using my Rare Beauty primer. Looks like this. It's the Pore Diffusing Primer. I really love this primer because it kind of smooths over the pores, makes the skin soft, and it works really great with the foundation I'm going to be using today. I have lots of foundations in my drawer and I have so many favorites, but the one that's been at the forefront, not that I love it more than anything else, because like I said, I have lots that I love and I can talk to you all day about my favorite foundations, but this one is one that I have enjoyed so much. It's the Clinique Even Better Serum Foundation. My shade will be listed and linked for you down below, but this is my go-to at the moment. I have been using this since I got it during the Sephora sale. I actually purchased this color during the sale, but I bought the deeper shade, which was too dark, a couple videos before the sale even started. So I have been using this for quite some time, several weeks, and I really enjoyed it. But here's the little twist. We are going to be adding a little bit of a bronzing mix to this foundation. I'm going to use my Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Glow Liquid Glow Bronzer, and I have the shade 100, and I just love this product. It's been a favorite of mine since I bought it. This was, I think it was like last summer. I'm going to add a little bit of this to the foundation. I've been doing this sort of mix, and I guess this is kind of like my little favorite beauty tip to include in this video, is adding a little bit of a bronzing drop formula to my foundation, and I'm going to start with 1 pump of the foundation, and to that I'm going to add a drop of the Giorgio Armani. I'm going to mix and apply with my damp beauty sponge. So what I love about this foundation is how well it covers. The finish of it is like a satin. It's not quite matte, but it's not very luminous. It's not dewy. It wears so well throughout the day. Even if I mix different primers, if I do like today mixing some bronzer into it to just kind of do something different, it wears so well. And it looks so pretty on the skin, especially over that Pore Diffusing Primer from Rare Beauty. I think it looks so pretty. Now today I did add a little bit more of the bronzing drops than I normally do. I kind of have to scale back, and that's the thing with those kind of dropper type of things. I don't know if it's just me, but it's kind of hard to control the precise amount each time because it comes out of a dropper. So I'm trying to kind of eyeball it and make sure that I'm not doing it too much so that I'm not having like a really dark face and a neck that doesn't really match. But I'm going to take it down my neck. Next up is the Brightener that I've been reaching for so much. I only have a few products in this type of category in my drawer. I don't buy them often. I love my Charlotte Tilbury under eye corrector. I wear the fair shade, and that has been my favorite for so many years. And I like it because it has that kind of salmony, kind of peachy tone. But I've been getting into the lighter pinks and the light pink kind of tone for brighteners, and I do enjoy how it makes my eyes look a little bit brighter, more awake. I honestly have had issues with dark circles my entire life. They were really bad when I was a kid. They're not nearly as bad now as an adult as they were when I was a child, but they're still there. And if I put my head down, and I did some like little demos so you can see, when I put my head down, the angle with the lights, you can really see with these bright lights head on, looking straight, it's hard to tell. But I do have dark circles, and I do have a brightening eye cream on as well that I will list and link for you down below from Colleen Rothschild. And so that does help, and that's what I use pretty much every single day in the morning when I do my routine. But the Brightener is from Caliray. It's the Hideaway. And I will show you. You see how bright this is? And it's very light, like a light pink. And I just use a little bit, and I don't apply a lot of this product because I do use concealer. I'm going to use my favorite concealer, one of my favorites. So I'm going to blend this in first with my beauty sponge. For concealer, it's the Natasha Denona High Glam. Like I said before with the foundations, I have so many. Same applies with concealers. I have tons of them, and I have a few that I absolutely love. But this is definitely one that I would most definitely recommend. Repurchase as soon as I run out. I would buy another one. This is the shade P1, which has a little bit of a peachy tone, as you can see there. It still covers, great coverage by the way, with a brush or a sponge. Blends in so beautifully, looks flawless with any setting powder that I use. And I love the formula, I love the applicator. Everything about it is a 10 out of 10. Again, with that same beauty sponge, I'm just going to blend this right over my brightener. Now to set the concealer, I have a few options that I just absolutely love. So I'm going to start with the first one, the Huda Beauty Easy Bake. If you like to do any sort of baking, I know you've heard of this. You have got to have heard about this by now. This is the best powder for baking. I have been doing the baking technique very recent. It's not something I've done a lot, but I've tried it with pretty much every powder that I own, and the best results definitely come from this. There's something very special about this powder. But the Pat McGrath powders, okay, these are actually really great powders. These are the Sublime Perfection Blurring Under Eye Powder from Pat McGrath. This is another option that I love. So you can tell how much I love this because I hit pan on it. She recently did come out with the light pink one, and it's very subtle, the pink shade. So when I use the pink one on top of my concealer with the Caliray brightener underneath, I have a very bright, very awake under eye, and I'm here for it. But these two are just stellar. The formula is silky, it's smooth, it's just, you can tell it's high-end. Like, you can see how it just blurs. It's like a filter that you're applying under the eyes. So here with my lights, I know they're kind of bright, but I feel like it looks pretty accurate. In my viewfinder monitor here, the light pink looks just a little bit different than the one with where I hit pan on. This is the light, and then this one here is the pink. It's very, very subtle, and in person, it's pretty much exactly the same. You can tell there's a hint of pink, but it's very, very light. So I love both of these, but I want to do some baking, so I'm going to use Huda Beauty today. But these two powders are, this is it. I love them. I know how crazy I look, and you have to trust the process. It's not going to look pretty. This is going to work its magic. I let this sit on my face, and I usually do brows. While this is sitting on my face, I'm working on my brows, which is the part of my routine that I would say takes me the longest. So I'm going to share with you my favorite brow products, and I'm going to insert the clips that I filmed before the start of this video because I actually went through my favorite brow products, and I talked about my brows and what I do to fill them in to get to this point. So it's two products, one from the drugstore, the Maybelline Build-A-Brow, and then the Lawless Soft Fill Brow Pencil in the Teddy Bear shade. So I'm going to show you how I do my brows from here. I've often talked about how I don't really care for my brow routine because it takes me so long, and it's one of those steps of my daily routine that I honestly do not look forward to because I have to use quite a bit of products. This is what my brows look like without anything in them. They are just slightly combed with a spoolie, and that is it. I have a lot of sparseness. This one is a little thinner. This one has a little bit of a better shape than this brow. So I have a lot of issues going on with my brows over the years of plucking, waxing, going from thin because that's trendy to trying to grow them out and have them thick, back and forth for all of these past years of doing makeup. I can tell that now my brows are thinner and they don't grow back. So I do use a couple of things. And one of those products that I have enjoyed so much, since we're talking about favorites, is the Maybelline Build-A-Brow. I use a brow pen every single day. I usually use the NYX Lift and Snatch, which I still really love that. I've been using that same one. I actually have two. A backup because I thought I was going to run out. My original one that I still have has been going strong for the last 6 months, and I can't even believe it still works, and there's still ink coming out of the end of the product, and I love that. I use it all the time, but this is a little different, and I'm going to show you a little bit of how I apply this in like a demo, but this has a kind of thinner, more water-like consistency, so it just deposits a sheer kind of wash of color, and I feel like that does help when I'm trying to mimic the look of a hair, where there isn't one. So this is actually one of the better products that I have discovered from the drugstore. I've been trying lots of drugstore makeup lately, and this is a standout for sure. The pencil that does the major work is the Lawless pencil. This is the Shape Up Soft Fill pencil. I have the shade called Teddy Bear, and I ordered a new one recently during the Sephora sale because I'm almost out. This is a nice classic pencil, but it has a bit of a waxy consistency, and I'm going to start filling in my brows. I like the oval tip to the applicator, so some of them are like pinpoints. Some can have like a teardrop. This is more oval, so it's a little different. Not that it really matters. It's more of the formula itself. And what I like about this pencil is that I can get a fill done pretty quick. And I do go for quite a filled in brow just because that is my preference. But as you can see, the tone works really well with my natural hair color. And then whenever I dye my hair, those red tones, I really, really enjoy how this looks. And it performs so great. It wears so nicely throughout the entire day. So I'm going to use the spoolie and kind of comb through these areas here and kind of start laying down the hair back the way I want it. But as you can see, it didn't take me very long to get a almost completely filled in look. I still have some little spots that I need to go and fill in. But then for demo purposes, what I do is I come back in with the Build-A-Brow and I just do little flicking motions, not to fill in the entire brow, but just little areas where I need a little bit of extra help, where there should be a hair, but there's not. And just kind of fill in the gaps. And I usually rely mostly on the pencil for the fill portion. And then this is just like that little spot detail. This is not complete, but you can kind of see where we're headed here. And it's a major difference, right? From nothing to a brow. Another favorite of mine is the newest bronzers from NYX. These are the Buttermelt bronzers. I picked up the shade All Buttered Up, and I really love this shade. It says light, medium, warm, but to me, this has a little bit of a kind of rosy undertone, even though it says warm tone on the back. I really like the kind of rosy tone that this has. It's a little different. I don't have many bronzers in my collection that kind of pull a pink undertone. So I think that this is great for bronzing up the skin if you have light skin, tan skin, deeper skin, even fairer skin. They have several different shades, but I like this one. Even though this one says light medium, I don't think it's that dark. And I'm going to use my mini multitask brush, which is also one of my favorites. Since I rediscovered this brush, I have just loved using this little tiny guy, and it is small but mighty and applies bronzer beautifully. You can use it for powder, you can use it for blush, you can use it to set your face. Whatever you want to do with it, you can do it, and it is such a great brush, and it's like less than $6 I think at Ulta. I'm going to link it for you down below because it is amazing. I'm going to take some of that bronzer and go over my face here, just kind of quickly all over. I do have a little bit of my Haus Labs bronzer, which I've talked about. I've probably talked that into the ground so much, that velvet bronzer from Haus Labs. So I'm going to just switch it up and use other favorites so you can see something different instead of showing you the same thing over and over again. And P.S. and by the way, I did order the new blushes in this formula. I cannot wait to get those in the mail. Stay tuned. I can't do a favorites video without talking about this blush from Haus Labs. This is Hibiscus Haze. Okay, this is stunning. I did a video with that kind of bronzy eye, juicy peach lip. I will link it for you if you haven't seen it. I use this to create like a fake sunburnt look to the skin. I think it looks really fresh and pretty. So I'm going to use this for my blush today. I'm going to use my Angie Hot Flashy BK Beauty A507 brush for this, and I'm gonna pick up just a little bit. Now these are pigmented and they're easy to work with. Don't feel like it's going to be too hard to make work or to blend. They just have a lot of pigment. So pick up a little bit on your brush, tap off your brush onto a paper towel, a napkin, into the palm of your hand, and just kind of tap off the excess. And I don't use a lot when it comes to this formula. I've gone overboard so many times, but you need to tread softly with these. These are so pigmented. You see that? Oh, I love it. I love this color. I have a couple more blushes from this line in different shades that are just stunning. And I go over the nose, across the forehead, so it creates, again, that that fake sunburnt look. I have been using this lip liner non-stop since I bought it during the Sephora sale, and I am very familiar with this formula. I have a couple from this line. The Lip Cheat lip liners from Charlotte Tilbury are some of my favorites, some of the best that I've tried. They stay on so incredibly well, and they wear all day long. I normally use the Pillow Talk if I'm going to do my Lips But Better type of shade. I use the Pillow Talk, but I also like Iconic Nude, which is a little bit of a deeper nude, kind of leaning a little bit more brown against my fair skin. But when I discovered, no lie, this shade, Pillow Talk Fair, it has become my new favorite, my everyday, my staple. It is almost exact to my natural lip color. So this is my lips with nothing on it. I do have some lip balm. This is the one from Lawless in Pink Marshmallow. Just to kind of soften my lips, I had that on before I started filming, and there's nothing there. Now, my lip line needs to be more defined. So I'm going to show you how this Pillow Talk Fair is like a perfect match. So I'm going to take the pencil and I'm going to line my bottom lip. Actually, I'm going to show you what difference this makes doing half this side. So this is the lower lip. I'm going to do my upper lip now. This is one side of my lip done and the other side without anything. Do you see the difference that this lip liner makes? This color is perfection. I'm going to lightly feather that in a little bit so it's not just a line. And I'm going to top this lip liner with one of my absolute favorite lipsticks. The Red Carpet Pink from Charlotte Tilbury is just, it's bomb diggity. Then the final step to my favorite lip combo of the moment, it's the PhD Lip Glaze in Macaron from Haus Labs. Next up for my favorites, I have to give a shout out to the color Chameleon from Charlotte Tilbury in the shade called Amber Haze. I've had this for a couple of years. This is probably one of my favorite eyeshadow products from this line of Charlotte Tilbury products. This color is everything. I've worn this literally the last 3 days straight. I have talked about shadow sticks, how much I love the one and done. It's my thing. It's my go-to. I do it every single weekend. That's the time that I do my full face of makeup, but I kind of scale it back and not do a bunch of eyeshadows and a bunch of different steps. I just keep it simple. I've been reaching for this a lot, and this color is everything. I have a little bit of this smudge on my lower lashes. It's the perfect shade of bronze, which is one of my absolute favorite colors to wear, but it's not too brown and it's not too coppery. It's just right. So I'm going to show you. It's like a crayon. That's a big crayon. You just sharpen it, and it's so incredibly soft, right? Look at how beautiful that color is. Just incredible. And it says for brown eyes, it makes the brown eyes pop. I think bronze is a tone that many eye colors can pull off and many skin tones. I just think it works across the board. And so I love using it for quick looks, the summer look with the bronze eye and that more tan skin. Yes, I am here for it. I love this shadow stick. The one thing that I will say is that it's a good idea to work one eye at a time because this formula does set. Once it sets, it does not move. And that is great because you want your cream shadows to stay in place. You want to put them on, blend them, and not have to worry about it. If I'm using it as eyeshadow, I scribble it on, blend with my finger, soften the edges out with a brush, a clean brush, and that's it. And then I go and do the second eye, and then I go to the lower lashes. If I'm going to apply anything to the bottom lashes, then I will do it one side at a time. Same thing, blend with my finger or a brush, and I don't have to worry about this migrating, breaking apart, shifting and going into my crease and disappearing by the end of the day. It is absolute perfection. I know I shared with you my favorite blush, but another blush that I wanted to include is one that's actually from the drugstore, and it's much more affordable than the Haus Labs. It's the L'Oreal Infallible blushes. I bought 2 of these shades sometime last year, probably early last year. I use this, and I kid you not, the first time I used it, I thought I looked like a clown because these are incredibly pigmented. I put it in my drawer, and it was sitting in my drawer for months. And as I'm cleaning things out, organizing, I thought I should try this again. I'm also doing more drugstore content here on the channel weekly, trying to post something drugstore related. And so I started using a lot of my products and testing them out to give you guys my opinions and to review these products. So this shade that I have in my hand is called Confident Pink. I have another one that's a little bit more corally. This one is the one that I actually wore this past weekend, and it's really pretty. But the thing with this is that it's so intense. Kind of like the Haus Labs. If you put your brush into it and you pick up too much product, it's going to be a lot. And because it's so intense and so pigmented, once you put it on your cheeks, it's kind of like, oh no, what did I do? And you're like working to buff this out, going in with a little bit more foundation to cover it and kind of tone it down. It's intense. But if you can get past how intense the pigment is on these colors, they do have a few to choose from. You don't have to use this specific shade, Confident Pink. I think this is a great formula from the drugstore. It's so pretty. It is a matte, but it's a soft matte. It's not like, and again, I refer to it being very similar to the Haus Labs in the fact that it blends so smooth and seamlessly on the skin. It is matte. When you look at it, there's no sheen, there's no sparkle, but the way it sits on the skin is so pretty, and it reminds me of the Haus Labs blushes because of those qualities, and I do really like this. You can pick them up at any major retailer that sells drugstore makeup. Every Walgreens, Walmart, CVS is going to have a L'Oreal section. Ulta has them. I got mine through Ulta in store. Target carries them. You can get it. They're easily accessible, so I love that. So I talked about this little guy earlier, and I love this brush so much. But I also want to give a shout out to my BK Beauty 111 brush. This is one of my favorites. Now let me just take a moment to talk about these brushes from this line. I have several. They have like a burgundy handle here. And then if you've seen some of these with like a charcoal handle, these are the Angie Hot Flashy brushes. I have the entire set of those. I love these brushes. But I also love my original BK Beauty brushes that the line has. They have several for face and eyes. And I'm telling you, the quality of these brushes is unlike anything else. I have used lots of brushes from expensive brands like MAC. I have It Cosmetics brushes. I have high-end brushes. I have some from drugstore, and these perform so incredibly well. This brush specifically is called the Dense Bronzer Brush, and I use it for bronzer, but you can also use it to set your face with powder, whether it's a pressed powder, a loose powder, whether it's a pigmented powder, translucent. It's perfect because it's so soft, and the brush head itself is not so big and fluffy like a traditional powder brush, but it's not too small and pinched like something that you would use for maybe blush or contour. It's just right to do more than just bronzing. I just love these brushes. I think that the quality is great. They have washed and kind of gone back to their normal shape beautifully time after time again. I don't have issues with them like getting loose at the ferrule. I don't have issues with the bristles coming out. They wash and dry like perfection, and it goes back to being like new. And I just can't get enough of it. So I wanted to shout it out because it's worth the money. Check them out. They have brush sets and individual brushes. I'm not sponsored in any way. I've paid for every single BK Beauty brush that I own. I'm going to link this one down below in the description box, along with the Angie Hot and Flashy ones, the ones with the charcoal gray handle. I'm going to link some of my favorites, individual brushes for eyes. I use their crease brushes all the time. Their smudge brush. I can't do my makeup without their brushes, and I have noticed a significant difference in the end result of my makeup using their brushes versus other ones. Whether they're other cheaper ones or other more expensive ones, there's something really special about those brushes, and I think that if you try them out, just pick one or two brushes that you would be interested in trying. Give them a try, and I promise you, you will love them. The shipping is great. They're quick. They're fast. If you have questions, I've asked them questions on customer service, and they are very quick to respond. So A+ all the way around, 10 out of 10. At the beginning of the video, I talked about a fail that I was going to include, and I don't do favorites and fails often. Every now and again, I may talk about a product that I don't like. I don't really try to give products that I don't like a lot of attention and dedicate lots of time in a video to these products. I try a lot of things, you guys. I buy so much product with my own money, and I wanted to try more foundation sticks. So I landed on the Lancome foundation stick, and let's just start with the positives. The positive of the foundation stick, and I will show you some pictures and some swatches because I actually did return this product. I hardly ever return anything. I usually just keep it, make it work, give it to a friend, family, whatever. I just don't return things. And that's something that I need to work on because I could be getting my money back from products that just don't wow me. The positive on this was that this foundation stick blended out like in 2 seconds flat. Like I could not believe how quick I was able to get my makeup done. I just couldn't get past the tone, which was wrong. And then the fact that this foundation stick made me look so incredibly greasy and oily at the end of the day. Super greasy. More greasy than I normally look. And it had to have been that foundation stick. I tried other things the next day and the following day, and I landed on that foundation stick being just too emollient for my kind of combo oily skin. The formula is very creamy. It's just kind of like silky when it blends into the skin. And if you've ever swatched this, or even if you've considered buying a foundation stick, if you have very dry skin, I think you will really enjoy this stick foundation. I think it's great for dry skin. For those of us who are combination to oily or even oily skin, I think that it's just too hydrating, too emollient, and it just makes the skin look a little bit more shiny. And I just didn't like it. And I just felt like I had to return it. I still feel bad about returning it, but the finish of it at the end of a wear day, I couldn't get past how greasy I looked. And then the shade was so off. Like, you've seen the pictures. I've inserted them at this point. You have seen how the tone wasn't right. So I couldn't make it work. So that is my fail for this past month. I am off to figure out what I'm going to do with my hair. If you haven't noticed, I cut my hair very recently and it's still drying. I put some spray in it, some Ceremonia hair products, and just kind of let it air dry a little bit. I need to figure out what I'm going to do, how I'm going to style this new shorter hair. I am enjoying it so far. It's only been a couple of days, so I'm going to go and play around with my hair tools and figure out what I'm going to do for the day. But that is it. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for being here, for watching. And I hope that this was fun. I enjoyed spending some time with you today. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this in the future. And you can follow me on Instagram. It always pops up here on the screen. Take care, you guys. I'll talk to you very, very soon. Bye-bye.